Lindy Lewis had a traumatic childhood due to the lack of care from both of her parents. Her traumas have only gotten worse with time, and she now suffers from the intermittent explosive disorder and only needs a mild trigger to leash out her anger on someone. After going through a lot of failed treatments, she was also sent to the military so that she could learn to channel her rage, but the results were no different than earlier. Eventually, her psychiatrist, Dr. Munchkin, comes up with a treatment and provides her with an electric shock vest, which she uses to control herself from fighting with others. One day, in an attempt to be normal, she goes on a date with a guy named Justin, although she tries to bail out at the last moment, but decides to stay, as he seems like a nice person to go out with. As they have a conversation, a waitress comes over to take their orders, but when she keeps on rejecting the dishes Justin wants to have, it makes Lindy outrageous, and she barely controls herself from stabbing her with the knife. A few minutes later, while using the restroom, she overhears the waitress making fun of Justin. Lindy tries to use her device, but it has become less effective, so Lindy loses control and beats her up, but then flees from the restaurant without informing him. The next morning, she takes the device to Dr. Munchin and asks him to fix it. While fixing it, he asks about her date last night, which was actually a social experiment, but she thinks it badly failed, as she once again hurt someone. Although he returns the device, but tells Lindy the only permanent solution to her problem is to build a deeper connection with someone, and urges her to be in a relationship, but she leaves without saying anything. Although she has no plan to see Justin again, she suddenly gives him a call and asks him to meet her. In their next meeting, they get along pretty well, and she even shares her passion for photography. They come over to Lindy's place, where he tries to kiss her, but she gets upset, thinking she might hurt him as well. Later, Justin also finds out about her vest, but does not care about it at all, and they spend the night together. After waking up the next morning, she gets a gift from Justin, and is overwhelmed to see it's a camera. After she thanks him for the gift, he asks her about her medical equipment, and she reluctantly shares about her disorder. She then requests him to stay longer, but he says he must report back to his office, where he works as the accountant, and leaves after inviting her to his house for dinner. She's overjoyous about this unexpected experience of being closer to someone, and excitedly meets Dr. Munchkin to share her happiness with him. As she did not use her device at all last night, she thinks if this relationship works, she might not need it again. After visiting the doctor, she spends the day taking pictures with her new camera. As she gets ready for dinner at night, she receives a message from Justin, telling her that he might get late. Lindy then calls him, but reaches Detective Vickers, who inform her about Justin's murder. She rushes to the police station, where Vickers and Detective Niven tell her that his dead body was found in a dumpster. While talking to them, Lindy feels they are not taking much interest in the case, and leaves the office, while deciding to investigate on her own. She later attends his funeral and grieves his death, while remembering the short time she spent with him. After struggling to manage her emotions, she encounters Dr. Munchin once more, who administers sedatives to help her calm down. Upon awakening, she confides in him about Justin and suspects Barry, his sole client, may be connected to his murder. Despite Dr. Munchin's attempts to dissuade her, she's determined to take matters into her own hands. Ignoring Dr. Munchin's advice, Lindy proceeds with her plan, leaving the clinic after a confrontation. Contacting Detective Vickers, she urges him to come to her house. Sneaking into the office building, she pilfers Justin's belongings from the evidence room. From his wallet, she discovers his address and investigates his apartment for clues. While on the phone with Vickers, she encounters Nivens at the door, labeled a murder suspect. In a tense confrontation, Lindy escapes after attacking Nivens, stealing Justin's McLaren, and eluding pursuit. The next day, she seeks a hacker through a mobile store, connecting with Andy to break into Justin's phone. Andy uncovers information about arms dealer Barry Kasparky, Justin's mysterious client. Grateful, Lindy leaves keys with Andy as payment, then heads to Barry's address. Discovering he organizes paid fights, she confronts him about Justin's murder. Challenged to defeat 3 formidable opponents, Lindy emerges victorious and joins Barry. In the car, Barry's men turn hostile, but Lindy fights back and forces Barry to reveal that Gareth Fizell is the true culprit. Fizell is powerful and elusive, making it challenging to bring him to justice. Meanwhile, Detective Niven informs Vickers about Lindy's history of violence and assault due to anger issues. Lindy arrives at the hospital, thanking Vickers for the warning and revealing she found the killer. Despite Lindy's plea, Vickers explains they need evidence before they can act against Fizel. Upon Vickers' question about the reason behind her determination to find Justin's killer, although she only met him a couple of times, Lindy tells him he was the only nice guy she met recently. Moved by her concern, he gives her Fizel's address, but warns her not to go there alone. As they discuss it, Nivens comes over and tries to arrest her, but Lindy manages to escape again. She arrives at Fizel's office building, but his security in charge, Delacroix, agrees to take her to the office, but knocks her down in the elevator and confiscates her vest before sending her out of the building. In the car, she continuously misses her vest and asks the driver to pull over, but attacks him as he refuses to do it. The ensuing struggles result in an accident, but she makes it out of the car and leaves. Later, she meets Dr. Munchin again, and after telling him about her adventure, requests him to build her another device. After having dinner with him, she comes back to her apartment, but learns someone is already there. She jumps in through the window and finds Fizel's men have set up a booby trap to kill her in an explosion. After dismantling the device, she takes it with her and sets another bomb in the apartment to stage her death. After coming out of the building, she meets Vickers, who wants to arrest her for her own safety, but gets distracted after her apartment explodes, which gives her enough time to disappear again. Vickers calls her and tries to keep her from going after Fizel, while asking her to let them do their job, but she knows they won't arrest him, so she ignores his concern and goes anyway. She climbs up to the office building, but is caught by Delacroix again. He takes her to Fizel, who confesses to killing Justin, along with many other innocent people. After listening to him, she can't control her anger and snaps out again, but Delacroix knocks her unconscious after hitting her in the head. After waking up this time, she finds herself tied to a chair, where Delacroix tries to torture her by draining out her blood. She lashes out at him, and after breaking herself free, attacks him with his equipment to get the location of Fizel's secret office. After beating up the security guards on her way, she makes it to the office, but finds someone has killed Fizel by shooting him in the head. Before she can figure out anything, she's shocked to see Justin appearing from the corner of the room. He admires her for her job, but she cannot believe he is alive, as she attended his funeral herself. Seeing her disbelief, he reveals being a CIA agent who used her to get to Fizel, as they did not want themselves to get directly involved. He also tells her that she was recommended by Dr. Munchin, who actually works for them, because they fund his research. He then tries to kill her with the electric shock, while telling her that they will present her death as suicide, but the device does not work on her anymore, as she has become resistant to it. She gets up again and tosses her back to him before rushing out of the building. Justin cannot understand her move, but the explosive in her bag detonates and kills him. After making it out of the building, Lindy visits Dr. Munchin and accuses him of using her for his own purpose, but he apologizes to her by saying he did not know about Justin's plan. As they argue with each other, Vickers and Niven come over and find Lindy pinning him to the wall. They think she's trying to murder him and shoots her in the leg, but learn she's only handcuffing him to hand him over for arrest. After taking her to the hospital, Vickers admires her determination, while both of them help her cover her tracks. After returning her device, which they took from her in the ambulance, he asks her out, and Lindy agrees to think about it. After recovering from her injuries and getting discharged from the hospital, Lindy comes back to her burnt apartment and collects her remaining stuff. She is soon visited by a strange woman, who is revealed to be Justin Sr. She offers Lindy a job at the agency, saying it will help her channel her rage, but she declines. The hacker Andy finds out that Lindy's payment to her was actually a McLaren. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications and leave a like to help the channel out.